Hello, fellow bibliophiles, and welcome back to Blatantly Bookish. I'm Marissa, and today I am so excited to share my Jane Austen July TBR with you guys. So it's no secret that Jane Austen July is one of my favorite readathons on BookTube, and I can't wait to show you guys what I hope to read this month. But just in case you missed it, I just wanted to mention that the announcement videos will also be linked in the description box. So do go check those out. I know the challenges remain very similar each year, but there are some great recommendations in those videos, especially from Katie from Books and Things' channel and Claudia from Spinster's Library's channel. So I will link those down below. And in the meantime, I will share what I plan to read for Jane Austen July. Now, I use the word plan quite lightly because with a very needy newborn and the desire to make content for you guys, I genuinely don't know how much I'm going to read this month. Honestly, it seems rather ambitious to set one book as my goal this month, but there's just a lot of stuff I'm very interested in, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what ideally I would love to read in the month of July. The first challenge is to read one of Jane's main 6 novels. There will be a group read on this one, and that will be Northanger Abbey. This will be my priority this month because what is Jane Austen July without reading some of Jane Austen's work? So I can't wait to get to Northanger Abbey again. It's been a while since I read it. Absolutely love Catherine Morland. I think she's a fantastic heroine. She's someone who I used to see myself in quite a bit. She's naive and really trusting and just a wonderful, sweet character. I think this time I'm going to actually read from this edition, which is the edition that I studied in school. It's got all of these dog-eared pages all about the Gothic, and I think it'll be fun to revisit this. The second challenge is to read something by Jane Austen that is not one of her main 6 novels. And for this one, this is our second group read. We are going to read a smattering of Jane Austen Juvenilia. I have a lot of different editions of this, apparently, but I think I'm going to go with this copy, Jane Austen, Love and Friendship and Other Youthful Writings. I believe this has almost all, if not all, of the Juvenilia that we plan to read. Do take a look at that schedule down below. I think I'll post it there as well, but it's also in the announcement video. I'm really excited to read some of what Jane wrote when she was a teenager. The little that I have read of what she's written when she was a teenager is utterly hysterical. Jane is such a character, and I feel like in some ways it's her writing completely unbound. It's just a complete disregard of societal conventions. It plays with things in really interesting ways, and she's just so funny and hysterical, and I just can't wait to get to these. The third challenge is to read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen or her time period, and I have many choices for this. I really would love to get to The Genius of Jane Austen by Paula Byrne. I was originally supposed to read this last year or the year before, and I read the first chapter. It was a little dense for me, but I could tell it was utterly amazing. Katie blew through the whole thing, loved it so much, and I really do want to get to it. I don't know if it'll be too dense for this year. I feel like it might, unfortunately, but it is a book that I really do want to get to. It's all about Jane Austen and how the theater influenced her and her writing, and why her work is so adaptable even today to the screen and plays, but I mean today it's mostly the screen. Another book that I would love to get to is this one here, Jane Austen and the Clergy. This is all about Jane Austen and her relationship with the clergy and how the clergy features in her novels. Jane was the daughter of a clergyman. She had many family members who were clergymen as well, and I believe there are clergymen in every single one of her novels, from larger characters like Mr. Collins to really minor characters like Mr. Grant in Mansfield Park. So this is a book that just kind of looks at that role in society, looks at that role in Jane Austen's works, and sees how Jane uses the clergyman to enhance or show certain things in her novels. Like I said, this one seems really great, but I don't know if I can tackle something on the denser side this month. If all else fails, I do have a lighter nonfiction book on my shelves, and that is Jane's Fame by Claire Harman, How Jane Austen Conquered the World. This is all about Jane's popularity. It's really just all about her cultural influence in our society, and I think it could be a bit of a lighter read and a really interesting read as well. The fourth challenge is to read a retelling of a Jane Austen novel or a work of historical fiction set in Jane Austen's time. And for this, I have a few options as well. I promise I did actually narrow down this TBR quite a bit. The first option is a book called Ghosted by Amanda Quain, which actually comes out on July 21st. I do have a Netgalley edition, so thank you to the publisher for providing me with that. I'll link all of the information for this book and the publisher in the description below. Ghosted is a retelling of Northanger Abbey, and it's so hard to find retellings of Northanger Abbey. What I know about it is that it is a gender-swapped version of Northanger Abbey. So instead of Henry Tilney, we have Hattie Tilney, and instead of Catherine Morland, we have Kit Morland. So that alone seems like an interesting twist to the book. And then, of course, it's set in a high school called Northanger Abbey, which is famous for being haunted. It sounds like a really interesting premise for a retelling of Northanger Abbey. Another option for this challenge is The Particular Charm of Miss Jane Austen by Ada Bright and Cass Grafton. This was gifted to me by Heather from Fresh Parchment, and she has said it's a really fun book. It takes place in modern-day Bath, and our main character is neighbors with Jane Austen, who has gotten stuck in the 21st century after time traveling, and the main character has to figure out how to get Jane back to her time so that she can publish all of her most famous works. It sounds like a lot of fun, like a nice light read, maybe just what I need this month. And another option for this challenge that I have is The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. I took this out from the library because it just sounded so interesting. I've heard it described as Jane Austen meets Agatha Christie. If Jane Austen were to write a murder mystery, apparently this would be it. Emma and Mr. Knightley are hosting a house party when Mr. Wickham turns up murdered, and it's up to the next generation, the progeny of the main characters who fall in love in Jane Austen's novels, to figure out who did it. It sounds really exciting, and I kind of love the idea of seeing the children of the couples that get together in Jane Austen's novels. The fifth challenge is to read something by a contemporary of Jane Austen. For this one, I would love to read Charlotte Lennox's The Female Quixote. This is the book that Jane Austen based Northanger Abbey on, or at least partly based Northanger Abbey on, and I think it would be really interesting to read it in that context. But it's a whole long book, and who knows how much time I'll have this month. So another option would be to pick up some romantic poetry. I'm thinking of possibly rereading some Coleridge, maybe some Wordsworth, maybe some Blake. Perhaps I'll revisit The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge. The sixth challenge is to watch a direct screen adaptation of a Jane Austen novel, and this year, I would love to rewatch Northanger Abbey, the 2007 version with J.J. Field. And last but not least, the seventh challenge is to watch a modern screen retelling of a Jane Austen novel. And for this, I have two options that I'm really interested in. One is Rational Creatures, which is the web series of Persuasion. I watched the first season a while back and it was amazing. So I think I'll rewatch the first season and also watch the second season. Another one that I'm interested in is Aisha, which was a Hindi movie made in 2010 and is a retelling of Emma. And then of course for challenges 6 and 7, the screen adaptations, I have so many old favorites that I may just decide I want to revisit something, especially if I have a screaming child that I'll miss parts of the movie for. So that is what I hope to read in the month of July. Hope is the operative word here. I really don't know how much time I'll have to read, and there are some videos that I'm hoping to film for you guys as well. My priority, of course, is to read Austen herself, so those first two challenges, the Juvenilia and Northanger Abbey. I would love to hear in the comment section down below, what are you really excited to read this month? Are you planning on reading any of the books I mentioned? Do you have others that you have your heart set on? And do you know any good retellings of Northanger Abbey? I feel like there are just so many Pride and Prejudice retellings, and Northanger Abbey doesn't get too much love. So yes, I'd love to chat all about your TBR, what you're reading, and what you're excited for in the month of July. Let's chat about all things Jane Austen down below. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you in another video very soon. Bye.